Hey, Momentum, thanks for giving me a few moments of your time just to give you a little bit of an update. First thing I wanted to give you an update on is summer camp, and I got some bummer news. We will not be doing summer camp. The camp board met yesterday and made that decision, and so our First Timers 1 and Junior Camp 1 camp will not be happening this year, which, man, it's just a big highlight of the year for our children, for our families, for volunteers, for our staff. And so, but we know it's the right decision. So here's what I want to ask you something. This is going to be a huge financial hit for camp, and in the next week or so or two, camp is going to be sending emails to those of you who had kids who are registered, and they're going to give you option to do three things with your registration fee. You can get a refund, you can put that on account with the camp for next year, or you can give that as donation to camp. And we believe in Woodland Christian Camp. We're so thankful for the camp. We believe in the ministry. And I know this is going to be a difficult time financially. So here's what I want to ask. If you're able to, and it's not it doesn't harm you in any way, I want to ask you to prayerfully consider giving your registration fee as a donation to the camp. I know that would be a huge help to them. So would you please consider that? Two things I'll tell you Momentum is doing. We are going to give our camp budget. The money we would have spent on the week of camp is $2,500. We're going to give that budget to camp, and we're also going to give another $2,500. And so our plan is to give $5,000 to Woodland Christian Camp too, just to help during this season. So would you consider doing that if you have kids going to camp? For those of you who've got students, CIY, Chad and his team, and Heather, they're doing a great job just continuing to communicate with CIY. Right now, CIY plans to do something, whether that's on location at the colleges like normal, or if that's virtually and local. And so we're continuing to see kids sign up. Of course, that would change the cost structure if they did something more local and virtual. But we're continuing to communicate with them, and they're continuing to communicate, and Chad will let us know as those decisions are made. And then the last thing I wanted to do today was just give you a little update on our church plan. I first want to just thank you again for your generosity. We are meeting the needs of people in our church family right now. We were able to give some incredible dollars to local organizations this past week who are helping serve our community. What we're going to be able to do for camp, we're continuing to do online really well, and that's has cost some dollars. It's going to cost more dollars, but we're doing well. We got great volunteers. I want to give a shout out to three people. One, Daniel Stansel, who's one of our elders, who's just been vital to us doing this well. Also, Hawkins Woodall is one who's been there every week, manning a camera. And then our staff person, Matt Mock. Matt takes all this once it's shot and edits it together into the final product that goes online. And man, those have just been some great, and there's been more. All the worship teams, tech people have just helped behind the scenes. We couldn't do it without you. But just to do online well, your generosity has helped do that. And I just want you to know that the vision and mission of Momentum is continuing to be carried out. I want to thank you for your support and for encouragement. It's just been so good, and we appreciate that so much. I want to thank you this week for many of you who've already filled out the survey that we sent out. We just value your thoughts and your feelings, and I can already tell you it has been huge learning and feedback, and we've gotten such a great response. So thank you for doing that, because that is just helping us make decisions and be wise as we move forward. And if for some reason you missed that survey, let us know, and we'll send that out to you. We'd love to have you participate in that. You know, I know church feels very different right now, but I was thinking the other day, you know what? Acts 2 is still happening. I mean, it says they devoted themselves to the apostles' teaching. I mean, we're still getting great teaching every week, and through our students and our children's and just other things that we're doing online and engaging with people, we're getting great teaching. We're hearing the word, and we're learning and growing together. I would also say that we're meeting together. We're meeting in homes. In fact, the family is so critical to the church. In fact, one quote I saw in just the past couple weeks is from 2013. I think it's so timely. Randy Frazee said this. He said, "The family needs to be restored as the ultimate small group." And man, I don't know how that's going in your family, but in our family, it's just been so good. I've heard from so many families at Momentum just how they're doing some just great things, and they're appreciative of the time together as family, and they're engaging in spiritual questions together, and watching church online, and Kid Motion, and Moxie. And so the family's so key to that. And then Reggie Joyner said this week during the Orange conference, he said this, he said, what happens at home is more important than what happens in church. And so I just want to continue to encourage you, as we have to kind of do church life at home, that there's a lot of good in that. Some things won't be the same when we come back as a church. And I think that will be good. There's some things that I'm hoping we won't go back to. And there's so many things I'm looking forward to returning to. And then there's so many things that I think that will be new that come out of this. And so what does coming back really look like? First, I would say this. It's not a reopening for us. The church has never been closed. We've still been working and moving and serving and reaching people and bringing glory to God. So we're not going to reopen. We're going to come back to live gatherings. I would also say this, that we're not in a hurry, that we need to be wise. And many of you even affirmed that in the survey. I think there's an issue of either do you pick a date or build a plan, or you build a plan or pick a date. And I'm afraid some churches will just pick a date and say, oh, we want to be back, and not build the plan. Here's what I think is going to be important, is that for Momentum to build a plan, and that to dictate the dates of when we meet again. Here's what I know right now. We'll be online through June 7th because we have a large gathering band in our county, and we can't do that social distancing requirements that are meant for that. So that large gathering band ends on June 12th. And so whatever happens then, we'll go from there. But we're still not sure we'll be meeting then. The plan will dictate that, because our church model, a church family model, is not very social distance friendly. We don't want our live experience not to be as good as what we've done online during this time. I mean, we want our live gatherings to be great. We want Moxie to be Moxie. We want Kid Motion to be there and just do an incredible ministry to kids. We want Little K to be so purposeful in serving those preschool age kids and new babies. We want you to feel good about bringing your babies to church. We want new people to come. And I think there's going to be a flood of new people, because people are going to be searching and asking questions. We've already seen that through online. And so we want new people to be able to come and feel comfortable. We want you to be able to invite your friends and not be worried about, can we hold enough people, or can they social distance enough, or do we even have room? We want our older crowd to be there so that it's safe for them to be a part of the family. But we also understand that there could be levels of how we return to. So here's what we're doing. I think there's a couple things. We need to be informed, we need to develop a plan, and we need to prepare the church. And so right now we're in that be informed stage. We have been listening and learning. We've been on more Zoom calls and webinars and talking to other pastors and leaders of what they're doing. And so we've gathered a whole bunch of information. And I think we're starting to move from the be informed to develop a plan. We want to develop a plan for what it looks like for Momentum to return to live gatherings. And then we need to prepare the church. That's physically, that's cleaning, signage, sanitizing, having sanitizing in place. How do we clean constantly and in between gatherings when they happen? Programmatically, what does the training of staff and leaders and volunteers look like? What's the laying out of our gatherings? I mean, what are the options? What are the times? Do we have to have more because you can have less amount of people in the room? What does the next generation look like, from birth to students to high school? What does hospitality look like? And so we have to think and prepare for all these things. And that's a big deal. And so we're taking that very seriously. But here's what I want you to know, is that what I'm doing today is that throughout all this, we will communicate. We're working on some creative ideas of things that maybe we could do during this next month or two of continued online. What are things that can happen on Sunday mornings? What are things that can happen during the week? And so we're working on some creative ideas. Here's what I do want you to know. We will continue online whenever we gather again live, because it's been so effective. It's a new option for you when you're not here. It is a new ministry realm for us, where we've been reaching people that wouldn't necessarily come to our physical space. And so we're building a plan for that right now. We're going to start ordering equipment for that. I mean, a lot of the equipment we've been using, some of it's ours, but a lot of it is Daniel Stansel's, and big thanks to him. And so we want to start ordering the equipment that he thinks we need. We want to create not just a place to just dump our service online, but to create an online campus environment to where we're actually reaching people and serving people and ministering to people in that way. The interesting thing that happened this last week was it kind of looked like maybe our viewership had gone down. And Matt Mock actually told us, no, it's gone up this week over the last week, just like it has every week. What's starting to happen is not everybody's watching a Sunday morning. They're watching Sunday nights, Mondays, Tuesdays. And so it's just becoming a greater reach for us. So we want to really develop that and do that well. Here's what I want you to know. Our church has great leadership. We have incredible elders who have met more in the past month than probably we've ever met. But they have been praying and just honestly seeking wisdom for what is best to lead our church. We have an incredible leadership team, and we have a great staff who's just adapted and changed and been doing all kinds of new ways to do ministry. But here's what I want you to encourage you to do. Keep checking in on each other. Life groups, keep checking in on each other, serving each other. Ministry teams, check in on each other. Students, children, let's be checking in on each other. And life group leaders of students and children, be checking in on them too, because it's been very different for them. And I'd ask you to keep praying for our church family and for our local community and the leaders who have to make incredibly difficult decisions constantly. Here's what I'd also ask you to keep praying for is our church family, because many in our church family have been affected from an employment status and work-wise. Many have been affected financially. There have been other health issues. Sometimes we forget that there's other health issues. And we have a couple in our church that they've spent the last month and a half in Florida because he had open heart surgery right as this all began. And so there are other health issues that have been happening. And I want you to know there have been people in our church family that have been sick with the coronavirus. We've had some that have been really, really sick. And so just continue to keep praying for our church family and our community. Here's what I want you to know. We have a great church. And I believe God is setting us up for some great things and new ministry that we probably never expected. Who would have known that back in January that the revival we started praying for would look like this? I didn't, but God did. And I'm going to keep trusting in the one who sees more than I see, who knows more than I know, and who's bigger than all of this. Love you all. Thanks for everything.